Welcome, I'm Jon Caldara, president of the Independence Institute and your devil's advocate. Tonight, a look at the nationwide struggle for better education. How does America stack up, and really, are we doing things right? I think we're going to find out we're not. Good friend of mine, the former Commissioner of Education for the state of Colorado, William Moloney. Thank you for being here, Bill. It's good to see you again.
Good to see you again, John. Always a pleasure.
And from the Independence Institute Education Policy Center, our director, Benigno. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, John.
All right, so first of all, where do we rank? Let's start off with the simplest question. How does American education compare to the rest of the Western world? Let's do the quick ranking. Where do we start?
Very poorly, and that has been the case for many years. But as a nation, we have been second to none in making excuses and living in denial about this. Latest rankings, and they never change year to year, done by the OECD and PISA. 18th in reading, 29th in science, 35th in mathematics. But we're right up near the top on spending.
But when it comes to mathematics, we can always hire the guys from India, so we're okay.
Up to a point, but not beyond a point.
And this is nothing that it's been getting worse year after year. It's been a steady slog. I know that every state and every school board tries as hard as they can to change this. Why doesn't it seem to budge?
Well, I personally feel that it's our culture in our country, and Commissioner Moloney has certainly talked over the years about it takes hard work. I think we're fat and lazy in this country. We want it easy. The standards, even though states pass standards and they pass money for assessments, but our bar is so low. What's expected in the classroom varies so much from school to school.
Let's talk a little bit about that math. So we're near the bottom when it comes to math, yet we live in a highly technological world. We're watching TV, we're carrying around iPhones and iPads, but the stereotype of the young Asian kid coming to this country and being the guy who is the science and mathematics guy, is that a cultural thing, or is that just for any immigrant? What is it that makes other countries succeed, particularly in mathematics, when we fail?
Because they modeled their system on the one we had 60 years ago, when it was the best in the world, as the United Nations testified in 1945. All of these other countries copied what we had. What did we have then that we've lost? A tight, narrow, intense focus on fundamental skills and knowledge, strong accountability. And also our teaching cadre was much superior to what we have now.
How do you mean that? We had superior teachers 50 years ago?
Well, there are a variety of things that weigh into this. One is the fact, just a quick statistic, between 1964 and 1971, 38% of the women teaching in public schools had been in the top 10% of their class.
In college? When they
in high school. This is what the figures are. By 2008, that was down to 11%. And of course, the reason is not hard to find. Many more opportunities opened up for women. The brightest and most able women have been going off, doctors, lawyers, Secretary of State, and all of that.
So in other words, because we let women in the workplace, that's what destroyed our education system. I knew I shouldn't have hired you.
It's her fault.
It's all your fault.
Well, I think that part of the problem is the system has allowed this to take place. I recently spoke to a teacher a teacher candidate that's in a teacher program at one of our colleges here, and she said that the elementary test that teachers have to take, called the PLACE, is at such a low level. She has classmates that took it 3 times to pass it. And that she's personally appalled at the lack of...
This is in order to get certification to become a teacher?
Yes, yeah. And she's just so surprised and disappointed in the lack of knowledge or the abilities of her classmates that are going to become teachers. It's very concerning.
But doesn't this fly a little bit in the face of what I think both you and I would like to see, which is it easier for people to become teachers without having to go through the regular education courses to become a teacher. It seems like we have an education factory and you have to go get your certificate. The idea that Bill Gates can't teach a computer class or Warren Buffett can't teach a business class in a high school because they haven't been certified. Are you saying that those certifications are actually good things?
No, I don't put a lot of stock in certification. I would much rather have somebody that is very capable in an academic subject to be teaching my children.
Let me put an oar in the water on that, and I'll put in a plug for a book. The overwhelming number of assertions and facts used in the Centennial Report policy brief are to be found.
Let's mention that real quickly. You did it for the Centennial Institute here, in Colorado, a terrific brief on the myths of education, and that's found on the website, which is centennialccu.org.
You got it, and that'll be appreciated. Marvelous book, Stretching the School Dollar. Harvard University Press came out this year. All of the information in that report are available in public sources, but marvelously you can get them in this paperback book, and they're all there. Now, the key, and one of the things right now, flat out, the American teaching cadre comes from the bottom third of their high school class. That's simply a fact. I mean, this is something we track year to year, whereas other industrial nations, they recruit and accept only the best and the brightest. In this country, teachers are self-selected.
Be careful here, Bill. You're starting to tread on some thin ice, because there are certain classifications of heroes. We have, the Virgin Mother. We have fire and police officers, but above them both, we have government school teachers. And you're telling me that the government school teachers that we have today don't stack up? That do they not deserve the praise and the great wishes we give them?
They certainly deserve our praise, and there are countless heroes in the classroom. But facts are stubborn things. Teachers in any nation are recruited as a result of a national policy. And we do not have a national policy. We do not have a state policy. An individual makes a decision and says, I think I'll go to a school of education. Now, in other nations, schools of education, as we know them, do not even exist. Academic teachers pursue academic programs at academic university. Anything else would be unthinkable. It's very difficult to explain to foreigners, what is a school of education? What are the others then?
Well, where do they get their teachers? How are their teachers trained in these successful countries? And give me an example. Give me a model of a country that's doing it right.
South Korea, for years, tops in math, though Shanghai jumped up recently. Also notable in that their class sizes are over 50. However, their teachers, their first-year teachers, are paid 74% more as a function of gross domestic product than are their American counterparts. So what are you getting there? You're saying, well, wait a minute, how do they get people who could deal with 50 kids? Because they carefully select them and they compensate them handsomely, and they train them.
You're saying teachers here aren't compensated? Let's talk over here. It seems to me that teachers in the United States are very well compensated. I know the rumor is that, no, they don't make a whole lot of money, but you have to look at their entire package of pay, not just what they're taking home, but they get retirement benefits that most of us could only dream of. So they get well compensated when you look at the entire package. And then you ask that when you see they're only working for 9 months a year, that's not bad. Are teachers paid enough?
Well, I think starting teachers, their pay is really low. But when you take the average teacher salary, they're making somewhere around $30, $31, $32 an hour. Well, when you compare that to other professions, that's not too bad. And the reason why it sounds like they make less is because, sure, they've got about 3 months off. They can go and get another job and increase that salary. But when you, like you said, when you look at their benefit package, it's way beyond what the public sector would receive.
And how do they make more money in the system they have now? I'm assuming that there's some sort of merit when they teach kids well, they get paid more money. I think I know the answer to this one. How do you get paid more in the American system?
The wrong way.
The wrong way. So,
Yeah.
Pam, what's the wrong way?
Basically, it's your years of experience and your